delivers the performance that kind of lines it up against the Model 3.
It looks good. It looks really, really good. My BYD Seal, which has come fresh from China.
We're going to give you some brutally honest, hard facts about this car.
Welcome back to Re-Review, where we watch all the reviews so you don't have to. Today we're diving deep into BYD Seal, the Chinese EV sedan that's making serious waves and has got Tesla firmly in its sight. BYD, or Build Your Dreams, is a name that many are still getting familiar with, but their impact is undeniable. So what are those initial thoughts when reviewers got their hands on the Seal?
Now, what if I told you that there is a car manufacturer out there that has been making batteries for years and has just started producing cars several years ago, and then actually outsold Tesla? This is the BYD Seal, and you might be wondering, what on earth does BYD even stand for? BYD actually stands for Build Your Dreams. Bit of a weird name. That's probably one of the reasons why they don't put it on their cars anymore.
I'm a previous Model 3 performance owner, but I heard that there was a car coming to market that had similar performance specs but was significantly cheaper. I thought, well, we've got to check it out. This is called the BYD Seal. This is the performance version, so top spec.
Let's be honest, I don't think BYD have ever said this. This is BYD's attempt to grab the crown from Tesla when it comes to that Model 3 hunting ground, if you like.
BYD knows that in order to hit their really big numbers, it just has to take on Tesla. And this is the car it thinks can do it, the Seal. So the Seal will be the third BYD model that we'll see in the UK, following on from the Atto 3 and its other ocean-inspired car, the Dolphin.
A clear mission then, take on the established players. But to do that, it needs to look apart. The Seal certainly aims for a premium modern aesthetic, but how does its design hold up under scrutiny?
I think this is exactly on the money in terms of design. It looks sensational here in person. They've taken a designer from Audi, and I think he's done wonderful things here in terms of making this look like a stylish proposition that doesn't look like a science project.
At first glance, I reckon it's quite a striking looking thing. It's got these cool elements of LED lights down here, a couple of little aero ducts here. Interesting wheel design. That's obviously done to keep the drag coefficient down. Favourite bit of them all is the door handles. Now, this has got to be the best quality door handles I've ever come across. They pop out, which is very cool, but just feeling that is nice. It's just got a very nice, well-oiled quality to it.
That's because BYD actually headhunted, probably not stolen, a guy who was a designer who helped Audi with the original e-tron and the Audi R8. So you've got some German inspiration, which I definitely think you can see within this car. I really love these sharp headlights. And look how they've followed the line into the front bumper. I think that's so cool.
I quite like all the extra details BYD has added, like the creases down the sides and the little fins under the rear doors. The BYD comes with 19-inch alloys as standard, but there's only one design available. There are lots more paint colours to choose from than the Model 3, however.
Now, as I have been using it over the past week, I've had so many people come up to me and ask me what this car is. Even today, while I've been filming, I've had people parking in this car park here and saying, oh, what is this car? Just because it is the brand that no one's really ever heard of before.
In the front, we see a very fluent look. And indeed, the CD value is also really low, 0.219, so comparable also to the Tesla Model 3 indeed. Very beautiful, by the way, in the lower part here with the lights. You can even better see it in the shadow or in our basement garage here. That's pretty cool. So overall, a very, very sleek look.
Generally, a thumbs up for the exterior with some interesting details and clear premium intention. The cabin is where you spend your time, and BYD seems to be offering a very different approach to Tesla's minimalism.
In terms of the way this interior looks, I think it actually looks incredibly premium for this type of car. And it's interesting to see that even with the base model, you're actually getting a lot of standard equipment. And when you sit here in this top spec version at just under 70 grand, it actually feels as premium as, you know, a $100,000 BMW. So I think they've done a great job in terms of kitting it out, making it look and feel expensive.
The materials in here are pretty good. It's a fairly eclectic mix. So you've got some really nice stuff up on the dashboard here, and this feels reasonably good around the center console, but there are also some cheaper feeling plastics dotted around the interior as well. So it's not perfect throughout, but the build quality is good.
First impressions, when you hop in it and climb aboard, Thank goodness we've got some buttons. BYD haven't gone out of their way to try and make everything sort of haptic. We've still got a nice gear selector down there. We've got a button to turn the AC on and off. We've got buttons on the steering wheel. I like that. The interior itself, it's really nicely made. The fit finish quality, no squeaks, no rattles, sod all. It's effortlessly quiet.
Most of the BYD Seal's interior is pretty conventional. There's a normal drive selector, thank God. Well, unless of course your God is Elon. And there's some physical buttons on the centre console. The air vents are pretty normal too, though the curvy dashboard is less so. And generally the materials in the BYD are a match for the Teslas, but there are some scratchy bits of trim on the door handles and door bins, which are two areas you'll actually touch quite a bit.
Everything your hands touch is soft and squidgy and leather and nice. Everything your legs and feet touch are harder wearing plastics that are easy to clean and easy to maintain. I like that. That's a good balance. I don't want everything completely plush because I don't want to have to keep maintaining it just to keep it looking nice.
Obviously, this is kind of a important topic with cars a bit like this because it's a brand we've never heard of before, but it's no different to any others really. Kind of softer materials up here, this kind of like suede material there, same material on the seats on the door there, and then just kind of more evidence of plastics just underneath near the bottom.
A lot of positive comments on the material quality and the presence of physical buttons, though some minor cheap spots are noted. How does it stack up in tech and that famous rotating screen? Gimmick or genuinely useful?
You get a 15.6-inch infotainment screen that can do this.
And it is massive, but it's so big that actually your view of it is partially blocked by the steering wheel here. You can, though, whack it into portrait mode, and there are no problems with the visibility of the screen. However, if you want to use Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, then it will force the screen back into landscape mode.
This infotainment system itself is actually not too bad. So for the most part, it's quite easy to use. There are a couple of little bits and pieces that I don't love into. Spacebar is like tiny compared to the other letters, but really not the end of the world there. Outside of that, it's all sort of pretty straightforward, quite responsive, and pretty easy to use as well.
Infotainment system, first of all, it's super quick, so the hardware behind it is really good. Then these are then the vehicle settings where you can individualize everything, also from the driving things like how you want your feedback there from the steering wheel, for example. And also important, they do offer Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and that is a really large integration right there. Wow. So kind of impressed by that.
It still feels probably not quite there yet. The finish is not as good as the Tesla infotainment system. I know Tesla's had many years to work on it. But having said that, BYD I've had 2 software updates now since I've owned the Seal, version 1.1 and version 1.2. With each update, you can see the improvements stacking up.
So the screen rotation is a neat party trick with some practical map benefits, but CarPlay limitations exist. The system is generally responsive, but perhaps not as polished as Tesla's, though I'm sure software updates are improving things. But what about the actual drive?
Driving around and pottering around, normal speeds, town speeds, this is by far and away one of the most relaxing, comfy cars out there. The adaptive suspension, so as long as you leave it out of sport mode, which can get a little bit busy, is excellent. It's borderline S-Class good in my opinion. Genuinely, I think it's really nice the way it sort of rides.
The ride quality's been really good and quite surprising considering it's obviously a brand that you may have never heard of before. Performance is really good as well. It's certainly very smooth and can easily eat up the miles. Seats are super comfy as well. They're very, very supportive on the sides. So yeah, pretty good. Actual ride comfort is very, very good. Suspension's good.
They aren't quite as sophisticated as a Model 3. They're relatively well suited to our battered British roads, soaking up imperfections pretty impressively, but there is a kind of bobbing sensation up and down that you get in this car, which you don't have in a Model 3 or in an i4. So those two cars ultimately ride better than this.
What I noticed in and around the city, the ride is on the firmer side of comfortable. They've dialed in just a little bit of sportiness to it, but it's not over the top. And look, to be honest, I'm happy for them to sacrifice the handling capability a bit to give you this ride comfort, because that's where a lot of the competition falls down.
Right away, I can tell it doesn't handle as well as that Tesla Model 3. Doesn't feel as punchy either when you come out the bends. It just feels looser, less tied down, a bit more floaty, a bit more leany, a bit more vague. Ultimately, it's just not as good dynamically as that Tesla. The Tesla feels genuinely more sporty, more sorted, and more special to drive quickly.
Overall, this vehicle also in driving ticks all the boxes, and that corner, really smooth, good feeling over the vehicle, and I can directly see everything. And noise insulation wise, great job. So it was really silent. That once again speaks for the build quality, and even at the higher speeds, very much in control.
High marks for comfort and quietness, with a ride that many find exceptionally smooth. Handling is good, though perhaps not quite as sharp and engaging as a Model 3 for some. EVs live and die by their range and charging capabilities. BYD's Blade battery tech is a big talking point. How does it perform?
The Seal gets what's called a Blade battery, which is a lithium iron phosphate unit, LFP, which unlike most other electric car batteries, doesn't need cobalt. So, for a start, that's a plus.
And in this entry-level model, the official range is a very impressive 354 miles.
Both versions come with an 82 kilowatt-hour battery as standard, and it comes with something called LFP chemistry and BYD's Blade design. So this is meant to be safer and less prone to degrading over time. BYD is one of the world's top 3 producers of electric car batteries, and it currently supplies them to Tesla for some of its models. So they are definitely doing something right.
I did charge it to full yesterday morning at my home, and it came out with 323 miles of range, which is it's long. That's long range. That's impressive. It was very cold yesterday, though. It was about 2 degrees, 1 degrees. Did, I think, 180-ish miles, and I had about 70-ish left in the tank. So not 323 in total. Fair bit less than that, actually. And I did have to charge on the way back.
On a day like today, where it's 4 degrees, and I've done the best part of nearly 1,000 miles driving this, you get anywhere between 250 and 270, and that's all subject to how you're driving it. So it's not too bad at all.
DC, on the other hand, offers a maximum charge rate of 150 kilowatts with an average of just under 100 kilowatts. So on charging, it's not that amazing. If you look at a lot of the other vehicles in this segment, especially those with 800 volt architecture, they're able to charge much quicker and for better intensity. But it is worth keeping in mind this uses an LFP battery, so it means that you can actually run it and charge it through to 100% more often.
The Blade battery is definitely a plus point for its chemistry and potential longevity. Official numbers are strong, though the real-world numbers, especially in the cold, are more modest. Charging speed is a bit of a mixed bag, not class-leading, but LFP benefits are noted. How does the Seal fare for passenger and luggage, especially when talking about its main rival?
In the Seal, that isn't the case. You still have the benefit of having this open, airy sunroof, and headroom is still good if you're an adult sat in the back. If you're 6 foot or over, you might just begin to feel a little cramped in that respect, but legroom is very good in this car.
Backseat comfort. So the previous Ford Falcon XR6 I had was a boat. That thing was huge. This thing, with my seat in the driver's position, I have more legroom in the back seat of this car than I did in my Ford Falcon. And there's no transmission tunnel. There is acres of room.
Tesla says the Model 3 has 594 litres of space, whereas the BYD Seal, they're only quoting 400 litres for this car. But that's not all. Tesla and BYD also get front boots, or fruits, as I like to call them. The BYD has a 53 litre fruit, but the Tesla can carry 88 litres underneath its bonnet.
The front driving position, for example, is better suitable for tall people than in the Model 3 as for the headroom and so on.
V2L's been good. It's good to have in case of emergency. You can always plug, your critical appliances like your refrigerator, microwave, internet router, things like that into the vehicle. And of course, for more important matters like, say, life-saving measures, you may need power, in places where the electricity may not be as stable. Then having V2L or vehicle to load is, a useful feature to have in an EV, such as the BYD Seal.
Decent passenger space, especially headroom for some, and a useful frunk. The boot is adequate but smaller than Model 3's. After hearing from all the reviewers, what's the final word on the BYD Seal? Does it have what it takes to challenge the Model 3 and offer real value?
I think you're either a Tesla person or you're not a Tesla person. So if you're a Tesla person, just get the Model 3 because you that's what you're going to do anyway, trust me. If you're not a Tesla person, but you are considering the Tesla versus, for instance, the BYD Seal and maybe 2 or 3 others, this is a serious contender. It really is.
It drives well, it's well equipped, it's very comfortable, and it comes with an impressive 6-year warranty, which rises to 8 for the battery. But the big question, is it worth the money?
I'm just not sure if it's affordable enough. Does somebody really want to spend that kind of money on a car from a brand that you might not have heard of?
The BYD Seal might have a wacky name, but this is a pretty serious electric car. It's decent inside and on the road, and it comes with tons of equipment. But it has the same problem as lots of other electric cars. The Model 3 is better and cheaper.
As someone who's a dinosaur petrol head like me, I'm actually very impressed by it. It could be better, it could be sharper, but I'm pretty sure BYD will make faster, more souped-up versions in the near future. So I'll give it a solid 8 out of 10, I'll be honest with you.
Would I still recommend this car 6 months on? I think I would, yes, I would definitely. I think it's a great alternative to, the market leaders, Tesla, Model 3, Model Y. If you just want an alternative, if you want a different experience, if you can't live without Apple CarPlay, I think the BYD Seal is a fantastic alternative.
Well, the BYD Seal is a really good electric car. I like it a lot, but I like the Tesla Model 3 even more. And that's why it wins this test.
So the BYD Seal, it's undeniably a very competent and often impressive EV. The pros are clear: a stylish exterior, a generally premium and comfortable interior, and smooth and quiet ride, and that clever blade battery technology. The rotating screen is a unique touch, and for many, the performance, especially with the dual motor version, is more than enough. However, it's not without its drawbacks. The infotainment system, while feature-rich, can be a bit clunky, and the Apple CarPlay integration isn't seamless with the screen rotation. Some find the handling less engaging than key rivals, and charging speeds aren't class-leading. And then there's the brand recognition and price. Very competitive. It's up against the formidable and often cheaper Tesla Model 3. Ultimately, the BYD Seal is a very strong contender, particularly for those who aren't sold on the Tesla ecosystem or prefer a more traditional interior with more physical buttons. It offers a compelling package of luxury, tech, and comfort. If you're looking for a stylish, well-equipped EV that prioritizes a refined ride and offers something a bit different, the BYD Seal is definitely worth a serious test drive. It might not definitely beat a Tesla for everyone, but it's certainly giving a very good run for its money. That's it for our ultimate roundup review of the BYD Seal. Find full videos below and come back for more re-reviews where we watch all the reviews so you don't have to.